Yo, what's up? This is another pro dieting tip for the anti-skinnies out there. If you're skinny, this message is not for you. So, today we're gonna do a little bit of, I like you guys kind of like a little bit of diet advice here and there, So, yesterday we deadlifted our first 500. Didn't record it because I didn't want to jinx it, but I kind of strained my low back and pulled my abs and my hips, so we're gonna take a couple off days. But so this is the perfect time to increase your calories. Whenever you got a little small tweak or whatever, increase your calories, because your body's got to do that little extra healing. So today we're gonna do some rice with our eggs instead of toast, and then we're gonna make a couple pancakes. And this is another thing for you guys too. So if you are having extreme hunger issues, don't ignore those things. Eat a little bit more. So I found in the dieting, especially when you've been long into it, when you're doing, sometimes there's like a lower calorie phase and a higher calorie phase. I think that if we intuitively listen to our metabolism, it'll tell us when we should eat and when we not should eat, and you try to keep your ratios the same. So what I'm trying to say is, like, for me, a staple meal is a half a cup of kidney beans and a half a cup of rice. That's like one of my go-to staple meals. I try to keep my diet very limited, so I can adjust this kind of thing. So what I found is, when you're extremely hungry, you eat your same portion, right? And then you wait like 20, 25 minutes. And sometimes the hunger will subside, the little bit longer that you wait. But if you're still really, really hungry, crush another meal about the same size. You know what I'm saying? So what I'll do is I'll eat another half a cup of rice and a half a cup of kidney beans. And I'll wait like 20 minutes, 25 minutes, and see where the hunger is. There's no benefit to, being that hungry, because you're going to lose muscle. You know what I'm saying? So instead of being obsessed, with this, and it gets there, like when I was at my worst after surgery, I got up to like 407, and, I was so obsessed with getting that number down. And, you sacrifice a lot of muscle gain. You got that kind of weight, use the weight, because more, the stronger you get, the more you're going to need protein, and the more you're going to need calories. So you might as well, push it a little bit harder, right? So, and then again, like for me, like today is going to be a rest day because my hip's a little wonky, and, it's our first 500, and, sometimes you're going to get tweaks. Increasing the cardio over, this time period. I was straining my big toe, my heels, because I was striking different. I had to relearn how to walk. And, when you're heavy, and you get injuries or you're coming off surgery, whatever, the whole process is learning how to move with that kind of body weight. So if you're, if you're really focused on your movement patterns, and you're lifting good weights and whatever, don't worry about how many sets you should be doing or how many minutes of cardio or whatever. You do what you got to do, So that's the thing. The same thing with the diet is, have your foods, So what I try to do is, like, for example, is I keep pancakes right there in the mix for the days I need a little bit more calories, and that's just in my diet. I consider it in my diet. I don't consider it cheating. So, like, for example, like peanut butter and bananas, or peanut butter and graham crackers, or something. Don't take everything out of your diet. Just like, okay, I'm not going to eat McDonald's anymore or whatever. So, but I'm going to make myself a nice 6-ounce burger with some potato bun and lettuce and tomato. So, like, for me, right, I won't eat anything my mom don't make, right? If she's cooking dinner, I'll eat. You know what I'm saying? If she's making enchiladas or whatever, I know that she's doing the right things. She's cooking the right things. She's using good oil, whatever. So, like, don't listen to the fad where, you gotta be in these extreme calorie deficits. Those people just count their macros, right? They put it into our Fitness Pal, and they don't even know anything about glycemic index. They don't know anything about insulin timing, and they don't know anything about anything. Don't take advice from them. Take advice from me. You know what I'm saying? So the thing is find foods that you like. So, like, for example, like your favorite cereal, right? Like Golden Grams or something like that. And, so meal 3, you're like, you know what? I'm going to have a bowl of Golden Grams. It's just not have the box of Golden Grams, have a bowl of it, and then 2.5 later, have another small meal, so if it's like you keep these little things in your diet, it's not cheating on your diet anymore, it's a part of your diet, so sometimes, a lot of this is mental, so you don't have to make it so hard, like, yeah, some of us, yeah, dude, I go through extreme phases where, we're trying to push the cardio with limiting the calories or whatever, but I want to be an athlete, what I'm saying? I want to be, world's strongest man. I want to break powerlifting records, but at the same time, I want to look good. I want to be a bodybuilder. So, like, my goals are a little bit extreme, so, like, I used to coach, whatever, but, like, it's the same thing, like, I love you guys, but, like the whole, are you gay, are you bi, are you straight, like, I don't want to, even with dieting, let's get rid of the box. Alright, it's just like, like, if you're cool, I want to talk to you. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing like the diet thing, like, at 1,200 calories and put it in your Fitness Pad, because as soon as someone starts fucking saying, you're eating Quest bars and eating Quest cookies and Quest that's not dieting, bro. That's fucking shitty junk food. I'd rather eat a bag of Doritos than a Quest bag of chips. You know what I'm saying? If one of these skinny motherfuckers is eating a bag of Quest chips, get out of here. Get out of here. Hell no, bro. I ain't listening to you. You know what I'm saying? So, like, even like Doritos chips, get yourself like those little children bags, and pack yourself a little lunch. You got your turkey sandwich, you got a little bag of chips or whatever. So it's like, it's your diet, At the end of the day, it's your diet, right? You gotta be able to do it. So you might as well keep some foods that you like. So, like, if you like pasta, okay, keep it around a half a cup of pasta or 100 grams of pasta, and you got your 2 ounces of meat with a little bit of sauce. Who's to say that that's cheating on your diet? Like I said, is what I was trying to make it explain there. You can outwork the little things, right? I'm not saying like you're eating McDonald's and Burger King and whatever, or still want to be healthy. But, like, what I'm saying, if you want a bowl of cereal, a lot of it is just rice. Like, if you follow a bodybuilder, a lot of them are eating cereal post-workout and whatever, which is the perfect time. What I tell everybody, if you're going into a phase, right, whether it's muscle building or a fat loss phase or whatever, your post-workout window is the perfect window to get some junk food in. You know what I'm saying? If you want to have 3 Oreos post-workout or a little bit of gummy bears or whatever, sometimes those little treats of, like, working hard and earning those things. So that's why when I say, like, like us fat people have to do 2 hours of cardio sometimes. And it's like, it's not like saying that's the end-all, be-all. But for me, it's like, if you're really trying to lose that weight, because a lot of times, you're pressed for time. When you weigh 407... at any point in time, you can have a heart attack. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes it's like, you know what, man, if you can do it, 2 hours of cardio is going to be great. But that's getting you into healthy things. It's like, it's not sustainable or whatever, but it's like, nobody's asking you to do unsustainable cardio. You know what I'm saying? Like speed walking or the elliptical or whatever, something low impact. You're so infatuated with the numbers. It's not about, like, I don't care what that machine says. Whether it's 400 calories or 5, I don't care what that says. I'm doing something for an hour. I know that's going to crank up my metabolism. And then that allows me to eat maybe 1 cup of rice and 1 cup of kidney beans or whatever. So it's like every time it's like, if your body's asking for something, give it to it. And then, like I said, is if you build your protocol of your window, you know what I'm saying? So, like, if Oreos post-workout is in your thing, that's your diet, bro. You know what I'm saying? Your diet is your specifications of what you need, right? So if 3 Oreos post workout keeps you right on the plan, it's like we're not trying to do a bodybuilding show. Yeah, if you're 12 weeks out from the show, yeah, we probably shouldn't be eating Oreos or whatever, but we're overweight. We're nowhere near freaking getting ready for a bodybuilding show. So why make it so hard at the beginning? So like sometimes it's like, when I'm leaving the gym, I have this thing where I was going through like Big Y has these $5 chicken nuggets. You know what I'm saying? So I eat my meal and I'm sitting at the bus stop and I have my $5 chicken nuggets. And they got the barbecue sauce, and to me it's rewarding. And like I did an hour of cardio, I trained hard or whatever. So like I'm not gonna listen to somebody skinny to be like, oh bro, you can't eat that, you're gonna be fat. It's like, bro, what are you talking about? What are you talking about, bro? You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't about to take no advice from you, brother. You know what I'm saying? I worked real hard for this. And man, yeah, I've been training for over 20 years, but like I went through 5 years of not doing anything. I chose spirituality and religion over the gym, and it was the greatest decision of my life, but now we're back here. It took me 2 years to get back to where I was. And man, I was 407, dude. I had zero strength. I had 2 broken legs or whatever, and yeah, fasting and all that, that's a part of it. You gotta push yourself to the edge. It's like, can I fast for 24 hours? Can I do it? And then you do it, you're like, wow, man, I fasted 24 hours. And that has nothing to do with science. I'm not saying fast and you're going to lose weight, but man, you just challenge yourself and you went through a 24-hour fast. So a lot of the things is just like testing yourself. Can I go a week without eating carbs? It may be miserable or whatever, but it's not the results, it's the dopamine hits. The more dopamine hits that we can get while training and dieting, that's why I say, like, for me, the dopamine that gets released 25 minutes into cardio makes that 30 more minutes worth it. Because you're like, man, I'm working hard, I want this goal, whatever. So it's like, I'd rather go do the extra thing to have, like this morning, I'm going to have 6 whole eggs, and I'm going to have a couple pancakes, about 100 grams of carbs with pancakes, and 1 cup of rice. That's going to be my breakfast for the day. So, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, and I'm like, I want my back to heal and whatever. So I need a little calories for my body, whatever, but it's a part of my diet. I have the pancakes there, I have the rice. I'm not going out, I don't eat cereal, you know what I'm saying? So like making homemade pancakes is my version of cereal, and whatever that version of cereal is for you. So sometimes it's like, we're not trying to label, it's like, it's like, oh, you got to do 15 sets of 20. You got to do this. You don't got to do none of that. You know what I'm saying? Whoever's trying to label you to say this or whatever, it's like, whatever. You did that, whatever. That's cool. But like, stop pointing the finger and saying that somebody's doing wrong. You'll never hear me say that somebody's doing wrong something in the gym. You know what I'm saying? I don't think so. But the skinny people, hell yeah, I'll attack you motherfuckers all day. Because you guys want to sit in the comments and say, you're fat or whatever. Or like some girl, like, there's this one girl on the TikTok and she's beautiful. I like her hair. Her attitude does it for me, but it's just like, it's like you're always sitting there to like make yourself feel better of like, oh, you're fat or whatever, and you're sitting in here eating your Quest bars and your Quest chips, and it's like, who are you talking about, bro? That ain't dieting. There's nothing hardcore about you, but that's me. I'm hardcore. You know what I'm saying? I'm as hardcore as you can get. So it's like looking at these people and you're like, yo, you ain't hardcore. You shut your mouth. You know what I'm saying? But that's just me just being like, you know what, dude? If you're gonna pick on the weak, I'm the big dog. You know what I'm saying? I'm the big dog. That's the same thing at the gym. If I'm in the gym, I'm the big dog. I'm the biggest person in the gym. You know what I'm saying? And wherever I go. Because you know why? It's my aura. It's my energy. I got that big dog energy. But that's the thing is, that's why I love regular people. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you gotta be humble, but I can be the most arrogant person to those people. You know what I'm saying? I can be real arrogant. And I deserve to be arrogant. But that's not who I am as a person. I love the people that comment on my TikTok and whatever. I just don't like the people on Instagram. You know what I'm saying? I'll fight all the motherfuckers on Instagram. Because you don't look like this. You know what I'm saying? But that's neither here nor there. You know, we need to bring back the roots. That's why I love channeling. You know, spiritual channeling, all that, because you can do the same thing with your body. You just gotta be honest with yourself. Is it a brain thing or is it a stomach thing? But sometimes the brain thing makes us feel better. So it's like, if you're gonna have a few cookies, who cares? Hey, tomorrow I'm gonna do 5 more minutes of cardio because of those cookies. Problem solved. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go walk an extra mile. You know, I have those cookies, but sooner or later you're gonna be like, man, I'm not doing that for a set of cookies. You know, so it's a good governing agent. It's like, okay, if I'm gonna eat that, man, I gotta go run a mile. You know what I'm saying? If I'm gonna have some of that tub of ice cream, I gotta get up and do an hour of cardio in the morning. You know, so sometimes those little governing agents are what stops you from eating. If you put like punishment. You know what I'm saying? And it's healthy. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, whatever, you're doing something better for yourself. But that's my message for today. Love you guys. Stay huge and don't be skinny. Never be skinny, bro. Don't be one of those guys, because as soon as you get skinny, you get miserable and mean. And us fat people love being happy. Be fat, happy. Don't be skinny. Love you guys.